My story involves, well, three different universities in two countries. So I started in France and then moved to Scotland for my MSc and stayed for my PhD. It was my first time in Scotland. It was my first time studying in English. So it was absolutely petrifying in so many different ways. And I think I just didn't realise how big of a change it was going to be. I was with my father and we took a cab to wherever we were staying. I had no idea what the city was like. I didn't know where the campus was. I didn't know where I would be based, really. So we kind of started off by finding that out. Everything was a leap of faith. I had no time. I mean, I arrived in Scotland a week before I was supposed to start. I ended up in one house that was shared with 8 other people. 3 Irish guys, 2 English, 1 Scottish and 2 Chinese. It was just the most random thing. But the day before I had my induction, I still hadn't signed my contract. So it's only after I actually started officially my master's that I had a place to stay. It used to be a guest house. I had a lock on my door and I had my own bathroom. The only thing that I had to share was the kitchen, and I could not see anybody for days. I think without that, maybe I would have felt uncomfortable about it. But because I actually had a lot of privacy, it was perfectly fine. We have a lot of student kind of Facebook groups, and they are really, really helpful in trying to find flatmates to kind of try and figure out where stuff is and which areas would be best to kind of live in, and just learning a little bit more about people's experience. I think it's definitely worth using social media for finding stuff out before you actually arrive in a country that you've never been to before and you're going to spend at least a year of your life in. The first kind of me getting into the building was the induction that we had, and the induction was the kind of master's coordinator person and everybody that was going to be doing the master's with me. In France, you have about 900 people in an amphi per lesson, and there was just 20 of us in a room, and everybody introduced themselves. That was the first thing that we did, and where they were from and stuff. And I realised that I was not the only one that wasn't a native English speaker, and that wasn't I wasn't the only one who had never studied in English before. And I think that was a really big relief for me. I couldn't tell you what the induction was about, but I remember exactly who I was sitting with, and right after we went for a coffee in another room all together, and that's kind of where we started talking to people. And I think I was really lucky. I had an amazing cohort, and we just became friends really quickly. It opened so much more literature, so much more research, and so much more resources to me. Because having studied in French, you're very much stuck to whatever is published in French, whilst you have so much in English. And it was just a breadth of literature that I had never really even considered before, and so much more I could learn, I guess. It has been absolutely amazing, and it's been very challenging in many ways to kind of make that transition into a different language, a different education culture, and a different system. It's been fantastic. I had never really written an essay in English that wasn't for an English class. So I did a lot of reading, and I really used that reading to learn how to write. And I think because a lot of people were international students, they were very supportive and understanding of kind of the shortcomings and the difficulties that we might have. Not a lot of people around me were Scottish then, But having stayed afterwards, the Scottish accent was something definitely that I needed to get used to. That actually took me a long time. There's still some areas where I'm like, you really need to slow down, I can't do this. My undergrad, I was used to being a number because there were so many of us. Nobody knew your name. Whilst here, well, you started calling your lecturers by their first name. That was a massive leap for me. I was like, oh, you're actually human, and we're not that different. And they knew who I was, and they knew where I came from, and they knew what I was interested in, and they were interested in what I was interested in. So that was really great. Another really big change is that the French system is very much based on exams. I had barely written any essays when I arrived here. My essay skills were the ones that I had gained in high school. So that was kind of like a big change too. And another one was critical thinking. We were very much pushed and kind of moved forward to learn about the changes in the discipline, the new additions, the different types of kind of the different perspectives. Whilst previously I was pushed to just stick to one perspective and actually see that as the truth and the only truth, whilst it was kind of making the change into being like, nothing is true for good. Things can change, and that's part of the beauty of it, I guess. It was really difficult to incorporate the critical thinking into my work, I guess, and also my life, because you start thinking about what you thought you knew in a completely different light, and you start perceiving things differently, and you start questioning much more. I find it extremely satisfying to be able to listen to someone who's published books on something and be like, actually, I don't agree with you about this, and I'm allowed to say that. The seminars that we had were very much oriented into kind of learning how to think critically. So basically we had seminars that we had a reading list, and we were expected to read and think about things, and that kind of led on to discussions. So there was a lot of the work that was being done for me without me really noticing, where we had to discuss and disagree often on certain ideas and certain authors and certain perspectives. Peer support was absolutely crucial. I had a lot of friends that were in this with me, so we were kind of working together and learning off each other.